when last we had left our heroes, there was a knocking at the door. And what house were they at?
Your house.
Your house. That's right. When you had resident old people who were getting us tea and biscuits, crumpets, something along those lines.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you guys were in the middle of having lunch
and crumpets
or dinner
with crumpets.
You guys were eating. I don't remember whether it was lunch or dinner. Probably lunch.
By the time I got there.
Yeah, because we had checked into the church that morning.
Yeah.
And that hadn't really done much after that. So there's knocking at the door, and the old butler dude goes over and he opens the door and he's, "Oh, hello." And standing there
is a tiefling. As described last time, he's very pale skin. Practically, you probably say he's pretty close to albino as far as like just white skin tones with really deep, kind of almost a natural smoky eye thing going on around the eye sockets. Full pouty lips, bright glowing green eyes, obsidian black horns that are about 6 to 8 inches in length that just kind of curl neatly up from his head. He's got a blue-black hair that's really, really long. It looks black except for when the light catches it just right. It has kind of like that blue sheen. And he's got a goatee. It comes down into a point with the mustache that kind of comes off to the points off to the side in the very classic devil goatee style. He wears robes basically the same color as his hair, kind of a blue-black robes with silver trim. Very, very heavy velvet robes that kind of cover up what you can't really tell whether he's like what his physique is like because the robes are just like hang really heavy and everything around his form and everything. He's got pale hands with the long black fingernails that are very naturally just kind of in like almost a talon-like points to them. Same color as the horns, and he's got a devilish tail that will flick out from underneath his cloak every once in a while. That is the same kind of albino skin tone as the rest of his skin, but at the pointy tip of it kind of fades out to a black, almost a glossy black.
Do his hands look frail?
They look delicate, but not necessarily frail. He doesn't look like he's had to do much in the way of physical labor in his entire life. If not for his rather demonic features, you'd probably say he's a pretty good-looking gentleman, but kind of on the pretty side.
Does he look like, are there any arcane symbols or clerical symbols that are visible?
He does not have any clerical symbols currently visible on him. He wears 2 rings. One is a signet ring that is a very, very expensive, high-quality signet ring. It's made out of mithril on one finger, and then on the other side is a fairly simple-looking silver band with a handful of little protective runes on it.
Okay.
Oh, shiny.
Then he's got his outfit is very well put together with the exception of his slippers, which instead of being like the blue-black like his robes are kind of like a silvery gray color with black spiderweb across the tops of it.
Okay.
And they very much almost kind of look like house slippers, almost. Very fragile looking things that probably wouldn't normally wear outside.
I think my bunny slippers just went around the cover.
And he has a satchel that kind of goes over that he kind of wears over his shoulder. that is black leather with a couple of runes on like the little flap that kind of goes over it. But otherwise, and he does have a silver dagger kind of tucked into a black sash that basically ties his robes close.
Okay.
But he did introduce himself as Dorian, Lord Dorian Deshay of Diora, and he has come here seeking adventurers to aid him on a quest.
The butler kind of like ushers him inside, like, "Oh, please, come in. Are you expecting visitors?"
No, don't think so.
I don't know how to have visitors. We just got back into town. I just got back into town. Have I ever met you before?
No.
Okay.
So before he closes the door, the butler's gonna look out into look out beyond. Like, is there a carriage? Is there a valet? Is there?
Looking outside, all he really notices that might be out of place is a really large raven kind of perched on the pillars that kind of hold up the iron gate that out on the front of the little stone pillars. There's a large raven that almost has like a skull-looking face to it. It's like the feathers and everything are white, and then the beak is long and white, so it kind of gives it this like weird raven skull-looking appearance on an otherwise just a large black bird.
Okay. So before taking him into the room, the butler's gonna basically step into the sitting room where you guys are at and just let you know, ma'am, you have a visitor here, and then show him in.
I bow very, very deeply. Pardon the intrusion. I know that I arrived without any kind of warning or notification, and that is very rude of me. Please forgive me. However, it is my understanding that you five, I'm not used to there being other people over there, you five are accomplished adventurers. A dear compatriot of mine, Justin, from the church, has pointed me in your direction. See, I have a mild interest in an event that took place about a month ago, right? It's when the murders took place. There was a young couple that was murdered from one of the noble families. And there's also been a rather large amount of time since the family of those nobles have even been heard of. It's kind of odd. Courtiers normally like to remain visible out in the public. That's how they earn their worth, essentially, through their name and making appearances. Let's see, what's the name of this family?
The butler shows up out of seemingly nowhere with another crumpet and a teacup and just tries to awkwardly offer it to Dorian. Would you like?
Yes, thank you. He takes it and just kind of bows, but generally ignores the help because it's not proper to.
That's okay. He's okay with that.
Yeah.
He would
Kind
like
of
to leave
takes
it.
Yeah.
Kind of takes it and he sips from it very politely. He's like,
My hand.
this is very nice. But the Varden family recently has gone quiet. This is a task that was on his plate, on his list of things to do. But the court here is so boring compared to at home, and I need some sort of activity to keep me interested. Plus, it seems like a good deed that could possibly be done to help the local kingdom and help build relations between Diora and Calmoria.
So are you capable yourself then?
I have been on a few small excursions into the wild. Normally I go with a number of warriors, people that are skilled in arms, heavy armor, that type of thing. I am a spellcaster myself, so I try to avoid as much as possible getting anywhere near combat directly anyway.
So getting confirmation that he's a spellcaster, which I assume, is there anything visible that looks like what kind? Like warlock, sorcerer? I mean, obviously, there's really only a difference is if they have a spell book of some sort.
Yeah, there's no obvious book.
No obvious.
But then again, he does have a large satchel that hangs off his side, so
It's his laptop.
Okay. And how, whereabouts is this estate? Like, how far of a travel would it be?
It's only a couple of hours to the north, as far as I'm aware. Justin was very vague in his overall ideas. He hasn't had much time to really look into it. He has so many things that he's got to do since he's come back from. What was that quaint little town that you guys rescued?
Rowanwood.
Ah, yes, Rowanwood.
Yeah, we're
He returned
kind of
from
their
Rowanwood.
heroes.
Yes.
Yeah.
He explained all of that to me and suggested that you would be the ones most capable of aiding me in this quest. There is a reward, of course, but I have no real interest in that. So, any monetary recompensation that you would receive from the kingdom is entirely yours. I have no need for such paltry things.
When was this family last, or the family members last seen?
Roughly a month ago, give or take.
And there were no leads on the parents' murder?
There was a couple that had gotten married. Let's see.
Leia and Tobias.
Yes, Leia and Tobias got married, but they were murdered within a couple of days after their nuptials. And then a couple of weeks after that, all contact was lost with the Varden family. He kind of sets the tea off on like a little doily on one of the side tables somewhere.
It's a very clean doily. These house people have been keeping it pristine.
Just in case it matters, the amulet is currently visible. It's not like tucked away.
If it's visible, you notice that he looks at it, smirks ever so slightly, but doesn't mention anything about it. It'd be rude to pry into personal affairs.
But he knows what it is.
Yes.
Well, and we know his last name, and the amulet relates to his family, so.
Quite literally.
Well, yeah. So.
Hello.
Hello.
No offense, but I hardly even noticed you were over there. You're so quiet.
I'm rather small.
Yes.
Some say potato-like.
I would never say such things. It's rude.
Seraphina is quite taken with this tiefling. She can't stop staring.
His tail lashes every once in a while, like a cat that's like seeing prey. Like
Simon has left her heart.
Simon is dead to me. Dagmar's sitting at the one of the love seat couches, like trying to use this teacup, and it's just kind of gives up and puts it off to the side. It clanks a lot though.
Grips
not
it
good.
like a mug.
It's not doing well. You have bigger cups.
I don't know if Justin told you any of our background, or just that he recommended us to you, but...
He said that you are capable adventurers, that you dealt with some evil doings in Rowanwood.
You could play from the Helder house.
Yeah, and generally where to locate you.
My name is Kara. This is my estate, my parents' estate, but it belongs to me now.
My lady.
And these are my companions.
Sylan Andronicus.
I've heard this name, Andronicus. Are you from the noble family?
Somewhat. My family is not in good repute in the city that I'm from.
Families fall in and out of favor quite frequently. It's nothing to be concerned with.
And I'm Seraphina Tealeaf. I'm from Rowanwood.
Oh, very nice. It is very pleasant to meet you. Takes your hand, bows deeply, kisses
Very
it.
deeply, because you're short. How high up do his boots go on his legs?
Can't really tell. He's got robes all the way down to the floor.
So even if he bends all the way over in half, they don't come up enough to see how high the boots are? Are they high heels?
No.
Okay.
They are not high heels.
My name is Wentsu.
Wentsu. I have yet to meet a Kenku. It's very pleasant to meet you.
You? I've met many so far on my journey of your kind.
It's like
Tieflings. It is kind of odd. I have
You're the third.
seen many tieflings in my own homeland, but here in Kalmoria I have not seen others.
Our last companion. You don't have any demons chasing you, right?
No, I have no demons chasing me.
It was very frightening.
So I think our last 2 companions that were tieflings,
We're also the Orin.
yeah, were Dorian and this is Dagmar. And we left one on an island, and the other one kind of got her head violently torn off. But,
Whole body.
I mean, there was large chunks of her all over the floor. It was a very, very messy situation.
Shh, you're not giving him a lot of confidence that we can get this.
I mean, we obviously defeated the creature that killed her, but
Obviously, or else you wouldn't be here, I'm
Mhm.
assuming.
and it dropped like a fortune cookie paper, and you know we moved on with our lives. So,
We've
Well then.
come up against a lot of formidable foes, and we've been on many adventures, so we're confident we can help you with this.
it doesn't involve a sewer, does it?
Oh, no.
Good. I think I've had my fill of sewers for a while.
Should the adventure call for it, I would hesitantly go into a sewer, but thankfully this shouldn't involve anything quite so grotesque.
When would you like to leave?
As soon as you're ready. Are there things that you need to do in this afternoon? He kind of looks outside, and it's still gray.
I mean, we just got back
It's
into town.
pleasant enough.
It's pleasant enough, but we just got back in town from quite a long journey. I think we could probably use some refreshing, and I know there's some shops that I want to visit.
Oh, very well then. In that case, should you require my services or any information that I can potentially provide for you, you can find me at the Orin Consulate.
Can you tell me before you go what kind of terrain are we going to be? Just going
I
on a
believe
well-traveled road?
that. Oh
Well,
yes,
Would I know where this is, having grown up there? If it's 4 hours
that would-
away?
Yeah. As far as noble families go, the Vardens have always been relatively
Okay.
big. They have an estate a couple hours north of the city. Their estate is strange compared to the ones around it. Most of the people that took over that area and were granted the lands and the parcels by the kingdom cleared the areas out and have like flatlands, and you know they have their like gardens and things like that on it. The Vardens have always encouraged the trees around their estate to grow tall and high, so it can be seen almost from the city nearly. Just this dark copse of woods randomly out in the middle of all these fields.
So I would know where we're going then.
The Varden family, you'll know this, is mainly known for their timber and their wood, basically. They own more property in the northern side of Kalmoria, the kingdom itself, that is wooded, and have basically a timber industry. She likes you.
She is chewing on my crotch.
She
Yeah,
really
congratulations.
likes you.
Is that one of Ben's kittens? Did you get?
Yeah.
Did you get one?
Just throwing that out there. Chitter's not going to be very happy with you right now. So.
Make a perception check. See if you notice something about. See if I'm as stealthy as I hope I am.
Ow, 17.
Yeah, you notice that I look in your general direction quite frequently, but not necessarily at you, but more towards your satchel.
The kitten's after your junk, the demon's after your junk. Different junks.
And you, kind sir, should you have need of my services in the near future, you know where to locate me.
Yes, I was planning on having a conversation with you at some point.
I am always available.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. And with that, I'll bow very deeply and return outside, snap my fingers and have the raven come land on my shoulder, and then make my way over towards the consulate.
Alright. The butler kind of comes into the room and he's like got this tray with a bunch of warm wet towels on it to hand to people to wipe their hands off with. It's the medieval equivalent of wipies, I guess. They're not lemon scented though. Sorry.
Yeah, Sylan knows exactly what to do with
It's
these,
terrible.
being from a
Yeah.
noble house himself.
Yeah.
But I leave so that they can confer amongst themselves.
Do. More tea? Anyone?
One thing I do want to do is
He had shifty eyes.
just, kind of do an
Beautiful,
insight
shifty eyes.
check, a general one to see what his,
Thanks.
like,
I don't have
demeanor
any-
and truthfulness about
I
the
do
situation
whatever
is.
is
So is it 19?
He seemed pretty straightforward. A little cocky. Basically, he's pretty sure that you're just gonna come with, of course, because there's things to do. Why not? But for the most part, you just kind of got the impression of a bored nobleman looking to prove himself.
Okay. Well, he seemed like he meant what he said. I got the impression he basically said it himself, that he's just a bored nobleman trying to do something.
Which, as like an elf, you're used to with all these shorter-lived races, just immediately needing to prove themselves right out of the gates.
How long do tieflings live?
I thought it was a little longer,
Tieflings
right?
are like one and a half times like humans, right?
Yeah, according to the book, they live a little bit longer than
So
humans.
humans like
but
150-ish.
I prefer to use them more, give them a little bit more advantage on their demonic bloodline, kind of like with the Asmars. They live about the same as an elf. They age quickly to basically maturity, and then they just kind of,
So there aren't 30 years worth of diapers?
yeah.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah, age of majority for elves seems like it takes just way too long.
Yeah.
My thought always was that they would age like humans until they hit puberty, and then just puberty would just take a lot fucking longer for them.
Which sucks.
Yeah. But it's better than diapers, so...
It's like 600 years of acne.
Flopping on your bed. Oh, no one
No wonder
understands me.
Galadriel was pissed.
Lots of angsty music. They like flute.
Angsty flute.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, you guys are in the living room.
Yeah, so
He's refilled all the teacups. He's not sure if you're staying.
you're from the area, so what do you know of this family? You don't have to repeat what she just said if you want, but if there's anything else you think of to add or to ask the DM if you know.
Was there any scandals that I would have known about?
Not
living there?
particularly. They had they were a family that had issues conceiving children, but then they got a lot older and they had children just a lot later in life than most would. They're one of the few noble families that they have a distant relation to the king, but they actually sort of earn their nobility kind of thing. They work to help better the kingdom. They pay their taxes, and they do a lot of donating extra money to charities and helping with the poor, and they're big followers of Calmor and just like doing the right thing because it is the right thing to do. Last you had heard, they had a daughter who is just a few years younger than you, and then they have a set of twins.
Does that kind of pique my interest that their parents got killed off, and my family, I've always suspected that they were murdered?
Well, they
Did they have known enemies?
it wasn't the parents who died just recently. The daughter, who was closer to your age, Leia, had married, obviously outside of the family because that'd be weird. And it was her and her new husband that had been murdered, and then the rest of the family just hasn't been heard of.
Mm.
And it wasn't like like when they come, most families, like in nobles, if they lose someone, they come to court, and it's kind of macabre, but they use the drama of they died to curry more favor in the courts and make the most of it in a political sense.
Yeah, so we didn't ask Dorian what the last name of the husband was. Do any of your family would know who he is? I mean, here, or we might have to look.
We could ask the butler. He might know. I mean,
Yeah.
is that like current events type thing?
It is because there's for one, it's a bit of a scandal. They were murdered. This is Kalmoria, things like that just don't happen. But there's also wanted posters around town for the suspected murderer, and it is what?
Does somebody still have that?
Somewhere I have the poster.
Because I gave out the wanted poster in our last gaming session.
Yeah,
I have it.
Wanted
Wanted
alive.
alive.
Is that?
How did I?
Because you're Wentsu.
Because there's
Sticky
no wars.
fingers.
Sticky feathers.
Yeah, that.
Just one thing I'll let you know.
Oh, I do remember seeing that now.
Gotta read it out loud.
Does it have
She's like, no, I don't want to.
does it have a last name of Tobias on there? Oh, Eskold. Or Eskeld. Okay. Do you know the name of that family? Is that familiar to you? The
Eskeld?
Eskeld?
The Eskelds have only recently really come into standing in the courts, so there's not much that you would have on them.
They're the new nobles.
The butler, though, says the Eskelds are they're a merchant family, not nobles per se, but just very well off merchants. And the it was of course everything is a scandal, but for the young lady Leia to marry someone who was not a noble, she married for love.
She married below her stature.
She did. Her parents were happy with the match, but it was there were suitors who were disappointed to not get their hands on the Varden fortune.
Any that stand out or have made a louder stink about it, for lack of a better word?
Not that I've heard of, but we don't. The most information I have mostly comes from speaking with other servants from the other households. No, it's they've just moved on to other young ladies. It's quite a few young folks in the court at the moment that are available.
So the wanted poster has a name of an actual person on it, right?
Carmelia
Ingress.
Says description is unknown, rumored to have a strange bone prosthetic in place of her right foot. Wanted for questioning of the circumstances of their involvement in the murders of Leia and Tobias. And it says, warning, Ingress is a practice mage with a history of dabbling in necromancy. Experienced team required. Did we know off top if that orb or what that the orb was necromantic, or did you?
Yes, that it's pretty obvious.
Okay.
Shady ass book.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Would
mean,
that
especially for me, because
So you,
I can detect magic.
Yeah,
and,
you would have gotten the school off of it.
And
basically.
yeah, even if I don't know what it is, I at least know basics about it.
Yeah.
would it be wise bringing that thing around somebody like this?
No, but we don't really have a good place to keep it safe either. I suppose wouldn't want to do it here. We could, but it would be risky for the family.
Yeah.
Is that something we could keep in like the warehouse?
You could probably
honestly,
put it in a warehouse, but
as depending on what we wanted to do with it, the Deshay family, as part of being from Diora, are pretty immersed in necromantic dealings. It's all over Diora. So
we could see if he could help,
we could see
help
if
with us.
he could help us with that. Yeah,
Is he trustworthy enough to help us with that?
he seems so. From I was trying to gauge his and when he was here.
Okay.
As a general knowledge of Diora, you know that they have very, very, very strict rules that they follow that don't necessarily go along with what the rest of the world feels is right and normal.
Yeah.
But you just you don't fuck with certain rules, and if you do,
is like,
bad things happen to you.
Yeah. I mean, the main
Yeah,
issue.
Diora necromancy isn't exactly frowned upon there.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, the
actually
main
pretty
thing with
open.
the Deshays, from my understanding, is that they are like the big ruling family there. So
You've actually met the head of the family too.
yeah. So it's not good to get on their bad side, but I don't think
They just have a
asking about
different
this
idea
is
of
not
what a
gonna-
bad side is,
Yeah.
basically.
So if we presented him with that orb, it wouldn't get misinterpreted that we had that.
I don't
mean,
think so.
I think if we took that to the church, they might just.
The church would potentially destroy it, but it might need to be destroyed. We have a couple options.
Alright. I don't like carrying this. See? That's
Is
how
it
much I
talking
don't-
to you? She just kind of flexes. Like, is it? Do you hear voices?
Do you hear voices? I just mimic you back.
No, I don't hear voices. Kara heard voices though, and then she went all dark side on us. Sorry.
It happened. I mean, I don't remember it, but that's what you told me.
Well, Seraphina backs away from you.
It's on the thing.
Yeah, it's contained right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's flopping around in a bag, the thing could come off.
It's not flopping.
I dare. I'm not dumb. I have twine. See? Right here. Look.
He uses it for making nests.
Straight. You're so weird. You're so more over here.
Random tuft of hair. Oh, I forgot I had
Here's a rat. I put it back.
that. Is it a live rat or a dead rat?
He's alive.
It's alive. You have a pet!
I've had a pet.
You've never
Did
seen
you know
him,
that he had a pet? Because
You've
I
never
did not
seen him
know.
get little
Yeah.
bits of cheese and put it by his
I just thought he was saving them for later.
No.
No.
I'm a bird. I don't like cheese.
I've thrown some weird shit at crows and they eat it anyway, so not to sound racist or anything, but...
Do I look like? Never mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say, So,
Anyway,
what
so
should
we need
we
to
do?
we need to upload some stuff, but obviously we need to get rid of that too when we, just so we can move on and
Yeah, it's not something we need
make
to.
money.
Speaking of money, Wentsu, we've been adventuring for a little while as a group now, and we've been in a rush, and I know how you work. Is there anything that you'd like to share with us?
I paid you fair.
we just got like, what, 2,200 gold or something like that from the Ritz?
220
you
platinum
got
pieces.
How
So
can we go
2,200.
back to the island and get our money and exchange it here? Is it a big enough city?
Yeah. The only problem, I guess, the only problem is if you have the crystal, you could go back to the island,
Mm-hmm.
but when you come back through, you'll be back at the tower of Bramblemarsh.
Yeah.
That's right. Never mind. But money's just sitting there.
But it might be a good idea that those people that have been sitting on that island for 2.5 weeks since you left.
They have plenty of food.
Do they?
I mean, it's a tropical
If they can
island,
fish.
right?
We can open
Fish
it
and there's
and close the
fruit.
portals.
Unless
Stuff
the monster monkeys have gotten them. Just saying. I mean,
Can we see through the portal when it's open?
yeah,
Yes.
but it only goes to the landing area.
Oh, okay, so we wouldn't be able to see the house.
No.
We're really far to the tower, though.
Mhm.
Alright. Well, after this, we should probably check on them.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right.
Well, I know some good shops around town, and I don't know if anyone needed to go do anything else around town.
What is the most preeminent magical emporium in the city?
Did you just say my wiener? That is the most preemptive magic shop in town.
I said actually before that I said ouch, that is my wiener, but
That's the name of the shop.
yeah.
It's very quirky.
Yeah, it's just full of magical rods.
But
Kind of like your wish.
they all cost 69 gold. Oswald's Shop of Curiosities. It's not necessarily the most renowned magic shop, but it is like one of the top 3 places you should visit. BuzzFeed article places for adventurers when they come to the city.
Alright.
It's located in the Bayside district.
Well, that
Which is where we are now, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just on the opposite end of where
Okay.
you guys are at.
So I know that's where Sylan wants to go. Doesn't really need to go anywhere else.
You guys are currently here.
Bayside.
He is there.
Oh, it's on the map. Oswald's Shop of Curiosities right here. Could have pulled out the city map and.
It's alright.
So we're Helder House. It's not too far as far as cities go.
At least you're in the same district.
Mm-hmm.
Where? I didn't ask him. I assume you knew. Where is the Dorian consulate?
All the embassies and everything are in the
Crown's Wharf.
Crown's Wharf. Pretty much all of the government buildings and stuff are there.
Did you say to meet him there?
Mm-hmm.
He said
I
that's
think
where
that's
he
where
would
he's.
be.
Yeah, that's where he's staying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you want to go to the magic shop?
I do.
Where do you want to go?
I want to go where Carl wants to go.
All right.
Okay.
You go to the gym.
I think I'd probably go to the shop too. I mean, it's just a magic shop.
To the Oswalds.
Maybe to sell some things, but
I
I
mean,
don't think I have anything to
would
sell.
they have at the magic shop? Would they have healing potions, or would that be more of a different?
Honestly, as churchy as Kalmoria is, you'll be able to stop like at any temple of
So
worship to
basically,
Kalmor and be able to pick
Since
those
we're
up.
going to the Crown District anyway to meet up with him,
Mhm.
there's the big
The big
the
temple.
big,
Yeah.
big temple right
They
there.
would definitely have some.
And if
I need new hand wraps because in the sewer, I was punching those squishy things. It's pretty
but they have
hard.
gloves, there's gloves now.
Gloves?
Yeah.
What's that?
You have gloves now.
Magical punchy gloves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my extra D8.
She's going full Thanos.
Then I don't need anything. I'm just gonna chill. Well, I don't know anything. I'll go with you if you want escort through the city.
I wouldn't say no, but if you have something better to do, I don't necessarily need anyone to accompany me.
Yes, split the party.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times party
we
gets
can go
split.
with him. That's fine. Wentsu, do you want to go? There's some money to spend. There might be other shops. There's other shops in that district,
money.
There
right?
are lots of shops.
Tons of shops.
Well, because we have money.
Because we have money.
Because your feathers jingle sometimes.
And this one is short and probably has like the vantage point of seeing sparkly bits hanging underneath.
Did you know he had a
mention
mouse? Am I the last one to find out that he's been packing a mouse this whole time?
He's a rat.
Rat? Like a no, it's not a wharf rat. I would have seen a wharf rat.
Oh, he's a mouse. Sorry, that was a mouse.
It is a mouse.
Yeah, it's the whatever background. Yeah.
Urchin.
Mhm.
I mean, I have a couple things I can sell. And I do need. How much is a bag of holding now?
Bags of holding, it's a rare enough item that it would just be a matter of seeing if anyone has it. If Oswald does or does not have one though, he'd probably be able to direct you in case it does. Okay.
But, you,
I did not
Dagmar,
drop the cat
did you have
rolled
anywhere
off.
you need to stop or see?
It's nothing against your house people, nothing against the butler, but I would like to have some ale as opposed to tea. So if we could just swing past someplace that has that, I'm sure that there's somewhere near Oswald's that has tasty drinks. Other than that, got a lot of gold to spend. Let's go shopping.
Seraphina really wants a drink now.
Yeah.
Is Seraphina saying this in third person? or
Seraphina has a thirst.
She has a lot of shit.
She's very thirsty.
Alright, unless anyone has any objections, I would feel like just heading out to the shop now and...
Okay. How do you plan to get there?
How long would it take to walk?
There isn't really
Golden
a
cherry.
scale. Huh? Alright. Let's see, we are in the Crown's War. No, we are in the Bayside right now.
Yep. We're on the number 5, and we need to go to number 3.
Okay, so that'd probably be like 20 minutes or so if you took a carriage, 30 minutes for a walk. Just because people get out of the way of carriages.
I mean, I'm fine just walking, personally.
Someone might have to carry me at some point.
I could carry you.
Is the Bayside like a
You can
decent
take your
neighborhood?
piggyback ride.
Yeah.
It's like merchant area.
Yeah, it's mostly a lot of shops and stuff.
So there's minimal chances of you being mugged.
I am very perceptive.
I see things.
If someone tried to sneak up on me, I would see them.
Okay.
But unless anyone else has,
I think she wants to go with you guys.
I'm thinking that from Kara's description of how far it would be, that it would be easy enough to walk.
Yeah.
Like we're not far enough away where a carriage is gonna add, like, make it
Save you
so
that
much
much
quicker.
time. Yeah.
Especially in a city where things can be a little slower for
Yeah.
the vehicles anyway.
So you're going to head towards the north-ish. Yeah, pretty much
Northeast
north.
of Bayside.
Yeah. Closer to the Scholar's Terrace. More nerdly stuff there for you. And your book reading kind.
Yeah.
So, at this point in time, it's probably close to like 2, maybe 3 in the afternoon. You guys had lunch, you had visitors, you chatted. Now it's time to go. So, you head off towards the shop. It takes like half of the trip towards the wall that separates the top part of the city. You've got like halfway through there. It's mostly residential. It's people whose houses look out over into the bay and look at the water and have terrace views and porches and things like that. And then as you get close towards about halfway through, that's when it starts becoming shops. There are like blacksmiths and carpentry shops and things like that. Basically shops where things happen, where you build and make things. And then closer towards the wall is more of the kind of shops where these are where the goods are sold as opposed to where things are necessarily made or created. And you get up to Oswald's shop and he's got a large glass window. There's actually a lot of glass windows in this street, basically, like this district, that aren't necessarily separated by like smaller panes of glass that could be easily replaced if they're broken or something like that. They have just large panes of glass where you can see all the way in. Standing in the shop's window is a mannequin of a woman. It's just like a vague outline, doesn't have a head, that kind of thing. And it's got a cloak on that droops all the way down to the floor, and it almost looks like it's made out of shiny, shimmery silver feathers. And it's kind of the highlight piece right then and there. There are a couple satchels with empty vials and things like that scattered on the shelf below her, but the figure is wearing a very shimmery cloak that catches the light.
Okay.
And it says, Oswald's Shop of Curiosities.
So step inside.
And his little ding-a-ding-a-ding as you go in the shop, the bell goes off. it's basically divided into 4 aisles. When you walk down, you go straight down the center aisle, and there's a desk at the far end, basically the front counter. And there are 2 shelves that separate it, and they got items on these shelves and on these shelves, and it basically divides it into 4 aisles. Walls are all lined with things, various trinkets. So a lot of them seem to be like almost like crafting supplies, empty vials, supply bags, bounds of rope. But the ropes are like various colors, and the vials are different colors, like almost like stained glass or blown glass orbs rather than just the clear glass.
Are there any magical items that look like they would suit a caster, specifically a warlock style caster? I don't know.
Are you detecting magic, or are you just looking for?
It's a magic shop. I'm assuming everything. Like
there is quite a few magic items. There are the tops of the walls have weapons along the tops, but specifically for a warlock, there are a few rings up in a glass case closer towards the front desk. There are 3 rings that are silver with various etchings on them.
So none of them are labeled either. They just have.
They have like a little strip of paper, but from as far back as you guys are, you can't quite read what they say. You need scratch paper.
I realize I don't hear
On this far back, you can't quite see what they say or what's on them. But there's a couple of bags in the same display case, and a second cloak that matches the one that's in the windows, folded up in there as well. There's not much for spell books or scrolls, but they're probably stored somewhere other than.
Honestly, spell books. It sounds weird, but spell books themselves don't really
hold much appeal for you.
They don't do much for me right now.
There is a sensation from your ring, though. It's interested by something in the shop.
Yeah.
Does it? Can I tell where?
Up in the glass case with where the other small magic items are being kept.
I'm a little concerned, but I am gonna go take a look and see and actually see what's in there.
Yeah. As you guys approach the counter, you see this young man come forward from the back of the room, basically he steps aside and pushes out a curtain. He says, welcome to Oswald's shop. Anything particular you guys are looking for? And this guy, he's wearing just a brown trousers and a white shirt that's tied off with a belt. The most distinguishing feature about him is he doesn't have hair. He has flames on his head where hair would be. And he has bright, golden, ambery, glowing eyes.
Like real flames?
Real flames. Like they flicker and.
Am I familiar with this race?
But they don't give off heat.
Okay.
Just he's not setting his pillow
Okay,
on
sure,
fire
we'll
every
make
time
out
he goes
with
to
him.
bed.
Can I even see over the counter?
He's pretty tall. He's a little bit over 6 foot. Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
So straight intelligence, no other skill. Okay. Oh, that's bad. 11.
11. Well, it's better than a 10. You've heard of some people that have bloodlines that associate to different genies, basically.
Okay.
So rather than like draconic people, sorcerers get their power from their bloodlines of being descended from dragons. Some people get their power from being descended from genies. And in fire genocide, which is what they're called, that power just shows and is a visibly seeable, tangible thing from the outside.
Okay.
So he is a fire genocide.
I'm gonna say I do have a couple items that I would like you to look at because I'm looking to trade or sell, but I'm kind of curious about what's in this case right now. So I will I want to check this out first.
All right. Well, they've got a few rings in there. There's rings of protection, rings of cold resistance. This one I think is fire resistance. It's got flames on it, basically.
Yeah.
Like that. And then this one, and sitting basically behind those 4 silver rings, there's a ring box, and the box is propped open like an engagement ring box, and sitting inside is you've seen rings that are just stone, like it's just like a band, instead of being carnelian or obsidian or one of the stronger ones, it's just made of amber,
Okay.
just an amber band. And that one is the one that spikes the interest of the.
Does
ring
it
on your
look
hand.
like it's part of the set?
This ring?
From what little I know of researching them,
Yeah.
and just kind of a general feel, especially since it's here, am I getting anything from?
It gives off the same. It almost calls to the ring that you're already wearing. Like there's kind of like how magnets would pull together from the opposite sides. You would guess looking at it that this is one of the 5 rings of the, or one of the rings of the Archfey.
Okay. Is there a price listed? Just curious. I mean, it's probably way out of my range if I did.
This one is definitely one of our most expensive items. This one goes for 100,000 gold, or a trade, or an item that we could sell for a similar value. Business after all.
So this is, I'm thinking about this in my head. How much do I know about the rings in the time that I have researched them, like, and how dangerous they are again? Because I don't know if I've ever gotten that.
They're fairly particular about who they'll attach themselves to, because it is an intelligent item. The one that you have is fairly sassy, and they're all descended of the same power source, you assume, because they have to come from somewhere. But it doesn't appear to have tried to attach to any of the people that run this shop. The box itself that it's stored in is marked with runes too. He kind of, even without reading them, you can recognize symbols for keeping and locking kind of thing.
Okay.
Those sound more like what? Theft, anti-theft.
Yeah, basically to keep the ring from when the box is closed, the only person who can open it is the person who closed it, basically. Without quite a bit of expenditure of magical abilities.
Okay.
And then in here we've got one of our cloaks of feather falling. We actually had 2 of those brought to us in the last week or so. Bag of tricks for Russ. This one's got it's pretty neat. Animals come out of it. Yeah. Bag of holding, always a necessary item when one is out adventuring in the world.
Any arcane focuses, like rods specifically, or any like magical ones, or
Yeah,
like
definitely have all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we've got just a couple shelves right over here.
Yeah.
Focuses for, there's crystals, there's a couple staves with crystals on the ends of them, pendants, amulets.
I'm mainly looking for something that's more than the standard focus. You know, anything that I look like out of character perusing through the DM's guide. I know that there are like warlock specific like focuses. I think that there's a rod. I don't know but I don't know if this shop would have anything like that outside of standard focuses. So I don't need a focus, but I wouldn't hurt to have like better focus, you know.
Is that something that they would potentially have? Okay, as far as warlock specific ones, he'll pull you over towards a, basically point one out to you. There's the glass case that has the rings and stuff in it, and then there's another one that's got basically, you can't quite see what's in all of the boxes. There's a couple that are opened up with various necklaces and headsets and things like that. One of the boxes that he pulls out and he sets on the counter, he opens it up and it's a gold diadem. Basically, it's not quite a full tiara, but it goes halfway. And it's just strands of gold woven together almost like in a leaf pattern. But it wraps up and around a piece of goldstone. So it's super glittery and sparkly. But it's blue goldstone, so it's dark blue with gold sparkles in it.
Okay.
It says, I think this one is meant for warlock casters. It's my sister who's more knowledgeable about those things, but I'm more into dabbling with the protective magics. But it's wearable and it focuses your power and, of course, makes it as strong as your potential is able to be.
So in game terms, what does it do, or does he not know, or does it not know.
In game terms, what does it do?
Well, that's what an arcane focus does.
So it's just a focus. It doesn't
Yeah.
do any. Okay.
It doesn't have any specific
Okay,
magical
then I don't.
abilities.
But it's pretty.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go up to the counter and pull out the copper token and the chess piece.
Okay. So that token.
Yeah.
So he will. He'll basically take one at a time from you. Take the copper token. He'll look at it. And, he's going to cast Identify on it. Just make a general. That gives you a modifier.
Yeah, you don't have to roll anything. It just tells
Yeah.
you what it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is.
With the right incantation, you can basically summon.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
So how difficult would it be for them to acquire the rest of what's needed for it?
You just need a name. It's some research.
Okay.
Research would do it.
Is it an inherently evil item?
No. It's a conjuration.
Can you say that with more confidence?
It's a conjuration item. Once you conjure it, it just kind of does whatever.
Whatever it's told to do.
Yeah.
Okay. How much would something like that be worth?
That thing's only worth about 1,000 gold.
Okay.
But then it would be halved selling it roughly, right? Or basically, depending on what the shopkeep.
And then he'll take the. So, oh, that's interesting. Where did you get this?
It's been so long now that I barely remember. Where did we find that? I didn't
That
write it
was
down.
in the Rokashima when you guys were fighting the Jade Witch.
Yeah.
So he'll slide that token back across to you and be like, we could probably do about 500 gold or trade for an item that we of course would. Sorry, itches. For about 500 gold. It's a decently powerful item, but it would take some work before it would be sellable. And then what was the other item you had?
I pull out the chess piece.
Chess piece. He kind of smiles as you're handing it to him, and once he touches it, he goes, "Oh, okay," and actually like starts paying more attention because this is not just a chess piece.
Yeah.
So how much would that one?
A lot.
Right. Well, are you? Is this? Are you connected with this item?
No. I know the schools of magic and I know it's intelligent, but I have not figured out what it does yet.
Okay. Is this something that Rutherford would know about? Like, would he be aware of that?
You could have him make an Arcana check.
Natural 20, yeah, he knows what that is.
Oh yeah, he knows.
Okay.
He knows all about it.
Alright. That's, I mean, if you're willing to part with this, that would be, you could trade that for anything in the shop, honestly, or I would have to check with my father to see how far gold reserves would be willing to pay for that.
How much
I
would
mean,
it?
if you're sure that you're not keeping it.
Well, what do you know what it is? You seem to have an idea.
It's well, it's probably smarter than me. It's part of a set. It takes on the form of a creature when activated. It becomes a giant flaming Pegasus, quite literally.
Oh.
Yeah. It's usually tied to a person. It doesn't normally go very long without being tied to a person. Nowhere near as picky as this fellow. And he points at the amber ring. But usually when you're tied to it, it stays that way.
I'm guessing it's comparable in price to that ring, the amber ring.
Yeah, it would be roughly the same value for us.
Roughly the same.
Yeah. It's a chess piece is it's of course of an onyx knight, and it becomes a blue flaming Pegasus that obeys commands given to it by the person that it is bonded to. Is it take an attunement slot?
No.
Okay. But it is intelligent
Yeah.
and has opinions.
Well, don't we all?
Ooh, flame.
Part of me is, especially as part of my personality flaws and stuff, Sylan wants to trade it for the ring. He wants, like, he knows that it's probably a bad idea, but he is super curious.
And he wants the
ring.
Well, that's like his main focus is to get those rings. The ring requires attunement.
How many attunement slots are there again? It's not
Like 3?
3.
But there's a special on if you.
Oh, sorry. I missed that part. The rings only count as 1.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how many of them you're wearing, it only actually counts against one of your slots. Because they are a set.
I think
Kind of like how
Sylan
slippers only count as
only
one.
has 2 things attuned to him right now anyway. One of which is the ring he currently has, and the other is the amulet.
Which, if he plays his cards right, he will not be attuned to much longer.
Hopefully. 'Cause-
Isn't that rough though? That you have to be attuned to it, and you can't unattune to it on your own accord.
Well, that's usually what cursed items are like,
Yeah.
generally. So yeah, Sylan is going to trade the chess piece, and he'll sell the copper wheel.
Dagmar pipes up. Wait, you're cursed?
That wasn't in character.
Oh. Sure. So he'll go down into the case and pull out the box that it's in, and he proffers the box to you.
Okay, when I reach out, I don't, like, there's no getting around it. The blue ring is on my hand.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of like a Frodo in the ring kind of situation. As soon as your hand basically gets near it, and then you're using the same hand that has the ring on it,
Yeah.
the ring will come out of the box onto your hand.
Okay.
And which finger are you wearing the blue ring on?
I don't think I really picked at the time.
Roll
Alright,
a
it'll be on the
d6,
pinky
subtract 1.
Okay.
He goes to the pinky. The amber will go to the pointer finger.
Okay.
There's an order to them.
There's an order to him. Okay. All right.
There's you hear a voice that's not too dissimilar from the one that you are already used to having living in your head that just goes, hello.
Do I have to make a save on this ring? I did for the other one.
You're already bound to it, so
You're already screwed.
Yeah.
So,
essentially what it is it's two voices that speak together.
Okay.
Because it's essentially parts of the same entity.
Okay. So now it's got an echoey quality to it.
Yeah.
The genocide seems surprised that the ring just leapt out at you. It hasn't done that to anyone else,
Yeah.
but he
Well,
just,
part of the reason why I was saying the ring is visible is that he could probably see it on my hand.
Yeah.
The Cerulean one. So I don't know if he's...
so he would know that it's part of the set. So,
Well, he might recognize it, that's all. I don't know if he knows there's
so
a
you're
set
already
up.
familiar with what the ring is and the ring's history.
Speaking of which, you should give it.
Alright.
Well, trade's a trade, and he'll kind of hold his hand out and take the knight from you. He actually pulls the pad out of the jewel box that the ring itself was stored in,
Uh-huh.
and he sets it back in the counter, and then he sets the
chess
chess
piece
piece
in there.
right inside, so that it also sits in the ring box.
Okay.
Well, today's been a good day.
Well, I can't think of anything else in here. I still have healing potions. So, unless there's another magical item that catches my eye, I think, me personally, I'm done here.
Okay. We'll check off the amber ring and write in a horse chess piece.
Sylan knows where a second one of those is at.
Yeah,
The other one.
it's
Is it black or white?
Black.
red.
No, it's the black one.
Well, I know that a jungle realm far from the other place.
Oh
where
no,
I
I'm
was
talking about the
describing-
chess piece.
Oh, the chess piece. Okay.
Ring of protection, ring of cold resistance, ring of fire resistance, and then he's got a couple of wondrous items and +1 armors and weapons of various sorts and types.
Right. Well, I think me as a player have taken up quite a bit of the time here for everyone, so if anyone else wants to do something.
Wentsu just comes over and says, "Did I hear you say a bag of holding?"
Yeah, we actually have 2 bags of holding right now. And he'll kind of pull one out of the counter and flop it onto the desk itself. See? And he takes something. He takes a quarterstaff off the wall, and he puts it in the bag of holding.
How much is that?
Well, these ones are. You can see looking at the sides of the seams. Basically, outside of the bag has been stitched up in a couple of places. On the seam lines, still like not patches, but it's obvious that some of them are fresher seams than the original ones. He said, "We're asking about 500 gold for these."
And then Wentsu like unstraps this big stick, or slightly big stick off his back and goes, "I have this that I need to get rid of." What's the name of it? The staff of Fenrir.
Oh,
Fenrir?
you hunt it with that?
So let's see. It's a simple-looking wood staff that is worn with age. How much would this one
About
be worth? Need
about
DMG?
10,000, I think. Yeah, let me see.
I could buy me my boat.
What the fuck?
Oh. I need to pick up more things apparently if I want to ever get my boat.
Wentsu's still here.
I feel like you should be sitting behind the chair. for
First mate,
this.
Wentsu?
That's
Up on
the
about
crow's
12
nest.
months of crow's nest. How much? What's that?
25,000.
Oh, that's a warship.
But that's like
Wentsu.
new price, though.
Yeah, that's like new price. It's like not what he would actually get for it.
That's a nice thing. Nobody needed it. So.
We could trade this for a bag of holding.
Wentsu knows when something's worth a little more than that.
Hey, I have to try. I mean, we've got.
You said you have 2 bags of holding?
We do have 2 bags of holding. We also have a bag of tricks.
Vouches all over me here before too long.
Cloak of Featherfall.
That would be sad and ironic.
That's why I mentioned it.
It would be. But it's very shiny.
Whee! 5 feet around.
Well, that with the boots of levitation that I currently have right now too.
Yeah.
You could just levitate yourself up as high as you want, and then just drop and like whee, sugar glider down in a circle. Gives you inspiration. Wentsu needs a beard.
Yes. How much gold though would you be willing to part with for that?
Well, shop value would be they would offer probably half.
We'd probably try to haggle lower than that.
Right.
They're not going to start at high and then work their way up.
Yeah. We could do 10,000 gold and a bag of holding. 10,000 gold could buy you a ship.
10,000 gold and the 2 bags of holding.
2 bags of holding? He's gonna basically pull out like a little ledger pad that's it's like a book, but it's bound on the bottom with wire spirals so you can flip through it. It flips down through there and he'll look at it. This is I think the staff is worth risking getting in trouble with my father. We'll do it. So I'll trade you the 2 bags of holding and 10,000 gold. Congratulations, you are now rich and can retire on a boat, apparently.
Crow's nest waiting for me. Filled with kittens.
Junk biting kittens.
Does Seraphina want
I just want to
to
make it
use magical items?
She's just in awe of everything that's going on, but she doesn't want to buy anything at the moment.
Might catch Seraphina's eye is in a display in one of the corners. It's set at various heights. It's just a black cloth is dropped over into the corner, and set at various heights in the black cloth are lights, not dissimilar to the drift globe that Kara has. They're different kinds. There's a pink one and there's a blue one and a purple one. They give a light in a glowing area. And the cloth is basically there as a backdrop to show that they light up. Not unlike a Christmas light display.
There's a purple one, you say?
There is a purple one.
Seraphina is interested in this purple light.
Alright. It's a glass orb. Weighs about a pound. You can pluck it down and it'll sit in your hand. But if you let go, it just kind of hovers there. Once he sees that you're over there looking at him, he's like, oh, those are our drift globes. Those are actually what I'm pretty good at. Those are 75 gold each.
I have one of those, Seraphina. They're pretty cool. Mine doesn't say what color it is.
It's gold. Yours is a gold one.
I have a gold one.
There's quite a few of them up there. There's about a dozen of them.
Once he slides over, he said 75 gold. So I'd like to see more.
What color does Wentsu take?
What's the shiniest one?
There's one that kind of gives off a silvery light. Almost looks like a little moon.
Seraphina would like the purple one.
The purple one?
Yep.
Alright.
So how many
Um,
are you 220 platinum?
How much? A platinum is 10 gold?
Yeah, 100. Yeah.
10 gold.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 10 platinum is 100 gold.
Yeah, so you could do 7 platinum.
If you pay with 8, he'll give you 5 gold exchange.
Yeah, so if you subtract 8 from that, you can get 5 gold back as change.
You should just go ahead and give her that sheet. Erin said she already has one of the sheets, so she and Steve can share for right now, and I'll print you a separate one for you there, Steve.
So you said I'd get 8
Silver.
gold back.
No, 5 gold back.
It makes it's easier that I can get
You
rid of
spent
torches.
8.
So would he
Drift
have,
globes are awesome because
So
they
would-
just float along
So
next
is
to
that
you. as
fresh
you're
would
walking
he have
around.
to, the shopkeeper have to reset like the
'Cause you had 42
command word
gold, right?
basically?
You had 42?
Because there's a command word that
He'll
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
give you guys ones that are in boxes, like a little gift box. And
You
it
open it
says,
has the command word inside.
Yeah,
it.
pretty
yeah,
much.
it's got a little slip.
You
And
can pick your command word if you want.
it's
Is it like a Benoit ball?
No,
Actually, if you shake them, they have like little.
it's like the little
sparkly
gloves that
glitter
we have at Redemption at the Fun
Kind of like
Center.
a snow globe.
That could,
The sparkle would just be the whatever color the light is.
if I find Wentsu at night, just
For some reason, I think like a
Playing with his
moon color
balls.
with like a raven, it just all goes together. It's very aesthetically pleasing.
Dagmar's gonna buy one of those too.
really need too much else. I just wanted to. Needed something to be able to carry things.
Yeah, but you got those bags of holding there.
This is a good opportunity for Dagmar to get rid of that shield.
Yeah.
And then we can go deal with some other stuff.
Yeah, we can go.
Get John back in there.
Let him play.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's like the game I get to play in just winds up being a shopping episode. I feel like a rock.
I mean, you don't have. You only have yourself to blame since you brought up those magical items in the chat.
Well, I was thinking of for stuff for after all of this.
Oh.
Stuff that that needs to be
Yeah.
essentially loose ends that haven't been tied yet.
So for the shield of cold resistance, is that something that that she would be able to sell, and how much would it go for?
I forget, is it a +1? Or is it just
plus
the
1
cold?
to AC plus cold resistance, even if it's only being carried.
Okay, so that would bump it up. I think that's would sell for like 1,000 gold.
I hope you saved this document, by the way, because I'm scribbling all over
Yeah,
it.
it's dark. You just claim it.
Guys, you're on camera.
Yeah,
You're
that
playing
one,
with
that one would
pussy,
be
alright.
about 1,000, 1,200 gold.
1,200 gold.
Yeah.
Okay. So it would sell for.
So she could probably trade it for one of the swords, and then if she wanted, she could just buy the.
There's 3 of them. There are long swords here that Dagmar is interested in.
And does Kara need anything from here?
No, I don't. I'm pretty minimalist.
Do you wear armor?
No.
No, monks
Traveler's
generally
Yeah, they
have disadvantages if they have.
Armor.
So,
Armor.
but I do want to find a shop that has ball bearings. You never know.
Yeah,
I've got
there's
a
a lot. You
grappling
can
hook.
pick
So just
those
a
up.
general, and I want to upgrade my rope to silk rope. And that's it.
That's gonna be
That's-
pretty
that's something
expensive. That's
you
gonna
could
run
just-
you about 10 gold.
That's probably something you could just say that you did on the way here,
Yeah,
since
yeah.
it
So-
doesn't require any kind of specialty shop to
That's I don't collect the magical items and the extra things because I don't like having things weighing me down, and I just like to punch things and kick things.
You kill the things, and I will collect the stuff.
Are you gonna start giving me some more of the money for killing the things? When you're almost dead and I'm out there punching things to death, you should pay me some things for that.
Wentsu has held his own as of late, so I don't believe that you're holding that over my head right now.
The genocide just leans over and like, buy her the damn shit, man. I noticed that you've got hand wraps. We have silk ones if you're interested in. They're very colorful. Basically like spools of ribbon. They're meant to be basically you could enchant them if you add them to the you could sew them onto clothing and then they can be enchanted. But they're just very nice colors, solidly woven.
But I already have my gauntlets, right?
Yeah.
So I would
Yeah.
need those.
Not unless you wanted to, for whatever reason.
Any kind of.
You could wrap your feet and kick things.
Yeah. No, I'm okay. So is everyone done here?
Yeah.
We should go find that handsome tiefling. He's waiting for me. I mean us.
Well, I think Dagmar wanted some ale, so
Yes.
Dagmar.
Yes.
He might have
Find-
ale there.
Can we send word to him at the consulate instead of going all the way over there this late in the evening? We don't really need anything from him other than to say, "Hey, meet us in the morning. We're ready."
No. Well, he wanted to talk to us.
No, he said, "Should we need him? We don't need him."
Yeah.
Yeah. Should you?
Should you need us?
Come on, Pablo needs us to go. He has shiny things too.
It's just in the oubliette. It's okay.
So she will trade that shield for one longsword, and then she will buy another longsword, and then she will also buy the +1 chain shirt. Just so that you as a DM are aware of all the shit.
For later. Okay.
Alright.
Start walking back to the house, or is there where's there a pub or a tavern?
Basically,
Yes.
on like on
Same shopping district.
yeah, there would be ones like some of these shops are fancy enough that they actually offer like, oh, would you like a glass of wine while you peruse our items? Oswald's shop is not like that, but you can. There's
I don't think wine is what Dagmar is looking for.
no,
To peruse.
no,
and
that's
drink wine. I
that's
think
silent
Dagmar-
shit.
I'm sure there are a number of pubs
Okay.
scattered about.
Some entertainment, some music to listen to.
Yeah.
So I'll
You
probably
good,
be
bro?
pretty easy to find a messenger. And
You made a
someone like
friend.
The cat's just like.
that. In a tavern or a pub, finding a
Yeah.
messenger. Okay, so I'll
Yeah, you could basically The barmaid will basically get one of their dish boys to run out and do it for you while you guys order your beers if you want. What should I tell him, sir? Ma'am? What should we tell the sir?
Just tell him that we are done with our shopping and we'll meet him at the consulate in the morning.
Consulate in the morning. Who's we?
Seraphina.
Seraphina.
Yep.
All right.
She's going there tonight, actually.
So why don't we give a
Seraphina will be
message?
by later. Cora will see you in the morning. At the consulate.
The Dorian consulate for Dorian Deshay.
Not
The
part-
consulate.
not-
Dorian consulate.
Not about the part about Seraphina. Just say we'll meet him in the morning.
Cora will meet him in the morning at the consulate. And she is done shopping. The Dioran consulate?
I'm gonna look to the barkeep. Do you have a different dishwasher?
No, ma'am, I can do this. I'm a very fast runner. He just runs out. He hasn't been paid yet, but he's gonna get this message delivered. I'm gonna throw some dice on it.
I was just about to pull out some parchment and actually write a note.
We just write him a note and send it to him.
Yeah, I guess we should have done that.
That's all
Well,
right.
he's gone now.
He gets over to that district and he starts asking around for the Dorian consulate.
Wentsu
The
saying,
Dorian consulate. And he finds her and says, Seraphina will see you in the morning. She's finished shopping. No, Kara. Kara will see you in the morning. Seraphina's finished shopping. They'll see you in the morning, sir.
Just smile and be like, you did very well. Thank you very much. And I give him a platinum piece. Go on about your way.
Yes, sir. He just runs off. This is the biggest silver piece he's ever seen.
He's like, I'm gonna go buy an apple.
Oh, bushel.
And that's like, you know, a year's living or something for
10
depending on how
months,
poor
yeah.
you are.
Oh. And for a dish boy, that's like 12 months. Sweet. So Dagmar gets her ale. She actually orders 2, one for the road.
Seraphina has some more mead, a really big glass. So
It's a Long Island mead.
Yeah.
There you go. Fancy shoe.
And Sylan just gets some wine and is contemplating his fate.
So, magic rings.
Yeah.
Do they... I mean, mine lights up when there's storms nearby. Do yours do anything cool?
They don't light up either, they just, no. They,
Don't make that face like it's tacky.
No, they don't light up. There, you have seen one that lights up. The Witch of the Wood in back near the Jade Temple.
that was one
She
of,
had the yellow one.
yeah, the yellow.
Which is just a shame. She should have had the jade one.
Well, the jade one is in the hands of some snake folk, so.
So
Yeah.
there's more of these rings.
Yeah, there's a few.
at least
10. No toe rings.
No, there's an 11th, but it's hidden.
Oh. I think Wentsu's seen some of those. That or the kitten has. So, do you get anything to drink?
No. I'll keep my head clear because she's drinking. Maybe I'll get
Someone has to
something
babysit.
to sip on, but no. Order some food.
Is that a sizes joke? Because you're
Or
It's
just
some
the
meat.
truth.
some meat.
Yeah.
They've got kebabs.
Sure.
So, some tasty kebabs.
Get some protein. Helps the muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Ones where there's like chicken and peppers and pineapples and they're all on these little sticks. Eventually your messenger boy comes back and says, I did it! I did your message.
Okay, and what did he say?
He just smiled. You know.
Oh, no, I'll pay him. 5 gold pieces.
He just starts getting really blissed out. Like, thanks. And he goes back over to the dish pit and he just he takes his towel off of his waist and he says, I'll be back tomorrow. And they're like, you have dishes to do. And he just fucking runs out. He's gotta go tell his mom.
mom.
I gotta call my mom.
Yeah. Unless anyone has anything they want to talk about, I assume we just kind of do this.
Yeah, probably
head
spent
back
like
and
an
sleep.
hour or so
And-
at the magic shop, and then dinner, lunch, dinner, and head back to the house and prepare for the
Rest
night.
up and
The butler will have prepared, basically you guys have a couple of guest rooms in your house. They're not terribly big, but they have beds in them. And you guys while the night away. Unless there's anything else you need to accomplish while you are in town.
no.
Did anyone else need to get potions? Okay.
All right.
So the next morning, you guys wake up, the butler comes around and knocks on everyone's door. Coffee's ready! Goes around down the hallway basically and lets everyone know.
I was already up in the garden meditating, probably.
Alright. He just brings your coffee down on a tray and he sets it up next to you. It's a little
If the
coffee
house
table
had
that
a
pops in.
library, I would have been up and in there probably already too.
Okay.
If the house had a library. If it doesn't, then I would have just been up in my room reading. So.
Probably a small library that doubles as like a study or an office. So there'd be books in there, but
It's posh. It's the posh thing to do.
Lovely you asked. That was my father's office. His study.
there's maps. It's got a nautical theme. There's like a little anchor paperweight.
Ships in glass bottles.
Yeah, yeah.
Seraphina has a bit of a hangover.
She had a good time, she thinks.
She can remember.
Those
Well-
are always the best times.
Unless you wake up with a rat in your lap. Unless you're Wentsu, that's fine. He's used to that.
It's expected.
Mm-hmm.
So he will knock on your door. You're not there. He will eventually find you in the library. He's not used to people going in there because, well, it's been unused for quite a few
I
years.
assume I would have asked. Like, it's staying at a house I'm familiar with, like, being formal
Protocol.
Yeah.
and stuff. So I would have
Being
checked
nice.
to make sure it was okay to be in there before being in there.
Okay. So yeah, basically when he lets you in, he'll unlock the doors for it. It's mostly just kept locked up so that only a couple of people go into there. Him and his wife, who basically take care of the house, will go in there and clean every once in a while, but keep the younger servants out of it, touching glass things. But he'll bring you the coffee and go around and knock on everyone's door, get everybody up, and unless there's anything you need of him, he's going to go back into the back and start cleaning up the coffee pot.
I'm gonna make my way into whatever the common room is, just to, meet up with everyone.
They'll bring down a small tray of cheeses for you. He noticed that you took the cheese off the crumpets yesterday. Yeah.
Does anybody need a break?
Okay. So in the morning, you guys wake up, you've had your coffees, or whatever it is that you drink in the morning. If you're a day drinker like Astrid, she starts the day off with an ale. Not Astrid. Who is this? Dagmar. Dagmar starts the day off with an ale. Why? She would love to start the day off like her grandmother does. That works out. And you guys head to the
The consulate.
Consulate.
That pencil sharpener is going down.
All right.
There you go.
So we travel.
The consulate has once you guys get there, it's like dark gray stone wall around the outside of it, and then very large wrought iron gate. It somehow manages to give off the feel of walking into a cemetery, even though it's in the middle of a bustling city. And once you're inside the outer gates of the consulate, it's almost as if the noise is dimmer. It's quieter here than the walls really should block the sound of. But, oh god, no. She just bit off Seraphina's head.
Just relax. Relax.
I got something for you to. No, I
Yeah.
won't finish
Snuggle.
that.
No, head right out there. But as you approach the doors of the consulate will actually just kind of ease open. And there's a woman standing there who, if you took a picture of a woman and ran it underwater for a really long time, it would look like this person. She's just, everything about her is almost faded. Like she's super pale. Her hair's brown, but almost like a wash water brown. It's not very vibrant. It's diluted, almost looking. But she says, "Welcome. Are you here to meet someone?"
Yes, we are here to meet a Dorian Deshay.
Ah, Lord Dorian. Excellent. Come into our sitting room then, and I will get the Lord Dorian for you. So she'll go upstairs.
I open the door. It's like,
Lord Dorian, you have visitors.
yes, I was expecting them. Are they in the parlor? Yes.
They are in the first sitting room.
Thank you very much.
Shall I serve them tea, or will you be long?
Bring tea just in case. Doesn't hurt to be polite.
As you wish, sir. She will bow and go off and get tea. She just kind of glides along. It's almost as if her feet aren't quite touching the ground. She to the kitchen.
I will make my way to the sitting room, which I'm assuming looks kind of like a mortician's viewing area.
It is very stark colors, lots of blacks and grays, and a big emblem of the Dorian kingdom on the mantle above the fireplace, where there is no fire lit. It's cold in here.
I just kind of slip in from a shadowy doorway and be like, "Greetings, my friends.
Ah!
I received your message yesterday. I'm glad that your shopping went well. And I am glad that you are willing to take me up on this adventuring proposition. When would you like to depart?"
Oh.
We were thinking tomorrow at dawn.
Very well.
Just messing with you. No, I don't make decisions here.
Well, we are ready to leave now. We assumed that, you would be ready to go whenever. I mean, if you need time to prepare, we can certainly...
I believe I'm ready to go. I'd be like, "My lady, it is nice to see you again."
Sir.
What? What did you call him?
My lord.
Oh, I definitely thought you said rogue.
And,
How can you tell?
You catch my eyes once again, kind of peering towards the satchel.
You like shinies, don't you?
You merely have an item that kind of beckons to one of my nature.
The ball.
That, yeah.
But that is neither here nor there.
So,
Shall we take a carriage to the estate?
do you have a carriage that'll fit all of us?
Of course.
All right, sure.
He's got a stretch carriage.
When Eleanor gets in, I have her place the tea down and have her get one of the carriages ready to go, and tell her to have one of the servants fetch my satchel from upstairs.
She'll just nod, kind of bow, and ghost out of the room.
Eleanor has served our family for many generations.
There's a person comes in the room. He's got your satchel. Just hands it to you. He's
you.
about your height and just completely head to toe white albino, but with like pink eyes, not the sexy smoky eye that he's got going on, just the weird kind of rabbit red eyes and the hair that's basically translucent.
The really wispy stuff, wispy thin stuff.
Yeah.
Seraphina is not interested.
He just kind of like, when he comes in the room, he hands the bag to you, and then he just like stares individually at each person. Then he runs out.
He's new.
You turned. I mean, yeah.
I don't know
So-
what you did for this.
What kind of things would they do at the consulate? Just
Oh well, here we serve as ambassadors between the Kingdom of Diora and, well, in this particular case, Calmoria. Treaties, trade agreements, those kinds of things. We do advisory work for the Queen. I don't see the Queen very much. Honestly, I don't normally travel all the way to Calmoria. I just kind of wound up here in my travels. I have a desire to prove myself to my family that I am more than just another noble within the house, dining and attending balls and what have you. I want to actually accomplish something. My grandfather is someone that I wish to impress upon the most. He has very little respect for where the Dioran family has moved on to in the past couple of generations, and I want to show him that we're not all just mooching off of his name.
Are things pretty peaceful between, what you guys do here and trade routes and things like that?
Oh, we take a lot of pride in working within the laws of the various kingdoms that we deal with. Where I am from, the law is very important. It's what keeps people from devouring the others. Quite literally in some cases. But I am not like that at all. You can trust me. I have no interest in dining upon the flesh of
someone who
others.
says that you can trust them.
I won't eat you.
Maybe you can
Some of the people I know might eat you, but I won't.
I have friends.
My Aunt Agatha, she is notorious for dining upon her guests, but they usually want it, so it's okay.
Can you make a perception check for me, please?
Perception. Okay. 13.
Alright. You notice that he's wearing one more ring than he was yesterday.
I don't know much about those rings, though. It's Fae. I don't know much about the Fae. Although I do find it curious. And I also notice that he's still wearing the necklace and hasn't actually mentioned anything about it. So I just kind of go on with...
Well, you've got a couple hours carriage ride to live through
That
together,
is
so...
kind of when I was planning on bringing it up.
So, Eleanor just appears in the doorway to the room. You're not sure if she literally appeared there or if she just moved so quietly that no one really saw her come up. But she bows to the room and says, "The carriage is ready."
Thank you, Eleanor.
And she goes and opens the door. It's subtle, but it's very clearly, get the fuck out.
I believe Wentsu says, "You must teach me your sly ways when I come back."
Perhaps.
I need to be sneaky.
Her mouth almost smiles. Almost.
All right. After
So outside there's
Lord Deshay.
Oh. Wow. Take her hand and escort her out to the carriage.
Seraphina's
Help
gonna
her.
sit right next to him happily.
I need to move here.
Do the gentlemanly thing and help her into the carriage.
Yeah, there's a valet that holds the door open. It's not the same short guy from before.
Oh.
This one looks like he might actually just be a local from Calmoria. So. Is it frozen?
I think it's jammed shut.
If possible, I'm gonna try and get a seat next to Dorian.
If possible.
You just sit on the opposite side of me, that's fine.
I mean, it just depends on, I don't know how big the carriage is and how it's laid out.
It's a fairly large carriage. It's being drawn by 4 horses. The horses sit at the front of the carriage, obviously, and there's a door that opens into the middle of it. There's a bench on the right side and a bench on the left side, and then there's a backless bench that is in the middle that basically divides the middle of it. So people could sit either on and face forward or astride the bench, whichever they prefer. And there's little, basically almost like file holders on the sides of the carriage that look like they could be filled with ice and drinks. They are currently empty.
As we're getting in, I lift up the seat of that center backless bench to make sure that none of my relatives are inside of it, and then close it back up.
Excellent.
It is about coffin sized.
Yeah.
Dagmar, do you want to sit inside or up top?
I kind of want to see where we're going, so I'll sit up with the driver.
Alright. So I'll sit in the carriage since I know up top is taken care of and being watched. Do my little nappy thing in the corner by one of the windows, half asleep, half not, ready to punch things if necessary.
It's a good state to be in.
As everyone settles into their seats, I pour wine for everyone. It's a very deep red wine.
You think?
A blood wine? Well, it'll stay close to me, so.
It's about
Where's
a
Wentsu
2-hour ride by carriage.
Yeah.
Wentsu sits inside because he knows that eventually he'll want to show or talk to him about this orb that he has.
Okay.
Dorian's popular.
Kenku has wares if you have cool. So, once everyone is seated, the valet will close up the door. Click. And then he'll get up onto the front, and he'll tap on the thing to let you guys know that he's moving, and then he will urge the horses forward. One can assume that Dorian had instructed him as to where they were going, because so far he hasn't talked much. But he will
Probably.
the carriage north.
Once I got the message last night, I probably made arrangements for transportation and everything.
I'm gonna need a Suburban.
Yeah. So, once we're underway, I'm gonna strike a conversation with Dorian about the necklace. I see you recognize this.
Yes, it belonged to my grandmother before she was imprisoned.
Oh, and unfortunately, well, I came across it during our adventure, and I did not inspect it very well before I put it on, and
Curses have a way of hiding themselves.
yeah.
Would you like for me to take it?
If you could.
I'll just
Like-
take it off.
Oh.
Slip it into my pouch.
That's it.
Is
Alright.
it because it's connected to his family?
It's
Yeah.
connected directly to my bloodline.
Okay.
No, do not have that anymore.
I do not put this on.
Yeah, you guys wouldn't have wanted me to turn into a full vampire.
Seraphina begs to differ.
Just like neck nibbling.
I would not sparkle.
I mean, there's ointments for that.
Well, that definitely was a lot simpler than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah,
So,
he didn't even have to bleed on you. I was pretty sure that there would be blood involved. So.
Oh, there will be blood.
Brewed in
It's
the
like-
water.
No.
It is a trap, basically. Once it's easy enough for one of my bloodline to just simply remove it.
Well, I'm
It's
glad
not that
it
big of a
was
deal.
able to be returned to the family if it was definitely something your family wanted back.
If I recall correctly, I'm not completely certain, but yes, there was a bounty for its return and the those that took it. But since I have it in my possession, I'll return it to my grandfather, and I'm sure whatever bounties will most likely be dropped.
Do I see a glare from Wentsu that, you know, I just handed over this thing that could have got us gold?
He just kind of.
This is why I keep all the gold to myself.
Gives you a stupid decision.
Well, I did come from a noble house, so, you know,
He's already.
monetary value has a different meaning to me. Like, I have
Sentimental
no,
value is far more important.
I have no concept of what's considered expensive or cheap.
If you like, I could, since you returned it to me, I could see to it that perhaps you were compensated as part of the bounty. I mean, I'm assuming that you haven't been to Diora and robbed any graves, so
No.
I doubt you're the one that took it.
No, part of me wants to accept, but I feel just the removal of a cursed object is payment enough for.
It's very honorable of you. I appreciate that. More wine, anyone?
Yes, please. And then I'll just, since Dorian's and my stuff is basically done, I'll just
Sit back.
sit back
Chillax.
and maybe watch out the carriage and see what the scenery is like.
So at some point, can I tell them about the necklace?
Sure, if you want.
All right. So the rogue that died in the hallway because of the platforms had stolen that necklace out of a grave, and she sold it to a guy, and the guy ended up dying. And the tiefling that Casty was playing, the two tiny scam artists with her, took it off of his dead body, and then we got it because it was looted from
Their pack.
from their stuff
Yeah.
in that last keep. It was just, my mind was freaking blown when I got that. So, what did you want to? Did you have anything that you wanted to speak about, Dorian?
Just I noticed that his interest is in that. Would you like to see what's in my bag?
I look at you curiously with a slight smile. But yes, that would be very pleasant. If you feel like sharing. I wouldn't want to intrude.
We're at a loss with this item anyway, and so Wentsu pulls out the.
But don't touch it. Wait, I'm not there.
You're outside.
It's on
Yeah.
a stand. It's all. Well, as far as we know, it's contained. I've got. You notice
Basically
there-
twined it on.
You notice there's some twine like wrapped around it to hold it in place.
It's very clever. I do not know much of this particular orb. Should I roll for it?
Yeah, make a knowledge arcana check. I don't know why I always specify knowledge arcana, but it used to be a thing.
That'd be a 23.
How old are you?
I am about 58-ish.
Okay.
I
You.
lost track a couple of years ago, but I'm not quite 60. I haven't turned quite 60.
Okay.
Hold up. Well.
There you go. Aged well, like a wine, white wine.
Yeah, that's right.
You vaguely recall when you were younger that there had been an item that there had been talk of what a shame it was that it had gone not necessarily out of the circuit, but it was no longer active, basically.
Yeah.
And it was the orb, and it had been lost lost somewhere in the swamp.
This is a relatively powerful necromantic item. It is dangerous, and I'm surprised that there hasn't been more shadowy creatures drawn to it thus far.
No, it's just monks trying to kill us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What was the name of the family again that we got it from? That was my
Martin?
Martin and I don't remember the
What was their last name? Yeah.
I actually forgot. I'd have to check my notes.
Yeah.
I am not DMing, so I don't actually have those funds available. At the
I
moment.
never knew in the first place. But that's alright.
Sylan, I don't think knew either, so
I know it came
That's all
up at
from Lou.
some point, but I don't remember.
yeah.
But Sylan
But-
had the metal and met the lich because of the metal.
Right.
Yes. So he did.
Yeah.
So if we do remember the
He located it in
a name, character-wise, maybe it would have some recognition with him or not. I don't know, but
Well, carrying such an item around, you should be very careful.
Once you get rid of it.
The undead would be drawn to it. Some of them would actually very much like to claim such an item.
Richmond.
Martin Richmond.
Ethel and Martin Richmond.
Good notes.
Thanks.
Yes. Alright.
But we don't know how he got that, correct?
No, that's
Yeah, we don't know
never
if
revealed.
he got it or if she had it or
But we do know that at least one of them was Dioran.
yeah.
Martin.
Martin.
Martin for sure was Dioran, but I don't know if we knew what Ethel
Don't know
was
about
better than the
Ethel.
other.
Ethel?
Okay. Well, he slides it back in the.
I don't know if you heard, but he did say that they're just trying to get rid of it.
Oh, are you? Well, I would take it off your hands if you wish.
Would it be safe to give you right now, or should I hold on to it till we're done with the adventure?
I don't see that it would matter one way or the other. Its danger radiates around us. Whether you have it or I have it, just
Do
depends
you
on where.
care if I get rid of this? It's
I don't
caused us nothing but grief, so.
I would not mind being done with that. It holds no interest for me. It's not where my
Forte,
No.
lie.
No,
not where my studies lie.
I don't want to be. I don't like being possessed.
I'm assuming the only people who would give us money for it would be somebody that would use it for wrong.
Most likely.
Probably just take it.
I wouldn't recommend. Well, I would not recommend selling it to anyone around here.
That's it. Okay. So he slides it and hands it over to you and says, and
I reach into my pouch, kind of down deep, pull out a satchel with some. Toss it over to you. Take the orb, put it in there. It's 100 platinum. I'll make sure that this gets taken care of.
Does Kara want to make a perception check? Because you're like in a fugue state, half napping.
Money.
Money. Pretty good.
20.
Alright, you hear this thunk, thunk, of the coins rattling together, and then as he catches it, and you just wake up. Money?
Keep and count, Wentsu.
Put it in my satchel. I don't mess with it right now. I don't have the time to truly study it.
Is it a haversack?
Oh no, it's just in my bag of holding.
Okay. Would there be any negative effects putting something that powerful in a bag of holding?
Basically, just other magical
Yeah,
containers.
other pocket dimensions is
Yeah.
where
Yeah, other pocket dimensions, and then anything
What's he
sharp.
doing?
you got 50.
potentially.
Yeah. Alright. You guys can never do that again, though. The weird in-sync drinking and then the
Oh.
weird in-sync
Oh.
putting it down. That was, you'll see it on the camera later. That was a little weird. Steve, you missed out. Your opportunity passed.
We'll just do the Backstreet Boys thing, not the NSYNC thing.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
They're having a concert soon.
Yeah, eventually do.
So, I know that Sylan doesn't have anything else he can think of to talk about on this trip.
How was it? Now I feel much lighter, ready to go.
Light as a feather.
Does Seraphina play some songs?
Yes, she plays you a lot of very good songs.
Oh.
Everyone entertained.
Like side-eyeing Dorian the whole
Yeah.
time. Like, ooh, am I
Some
impressing
romantic
you?
songs.
What about some traveling romantic songs? What ones could there be?
I picture her doing that saxophone thing and that meme. Beep, 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 beep.
No, what do you play?
Pelvic thrusting at him.
Okay. The flute.
She's doing it with the flute though, but she's just like pelvic thrusting at him like a little potato.
Which might be a little awkward in the carriage.
Like you'd probably be standing on the middle, on the coffin, dancing and playing the flute on the coffin.
It's so awkward.
Dorian
Everyone
is
has to
very
look away.
impressed.
There you go. Got your point across. He's impressed.
He golf claps for you.
I happen to be a big fan of musicians.
Oh.
I
Myself
don't
am
have
a
the talent
musician.
myself.
I have lots of talents.
Does she lick the flute?
She's a little more subtle than that.
But not a lot.
Not a lot. She also has not been drinking the red wine. She's been pouring it out the window.
Every once in a while, Dagmar just looks by like, yeah, that's some shit. Just sees it flip onto the window, off the window.
Crystal goblet and all.
Yeah, sure.
No, she would give the goblet to Wentsu.
Into the bag of holding. Just gotta remember which one is holding what.
Yeah, that'll be important.
Yeah, well.
Right.
You know when the DM is like, yes, that's it. That'll be important. You're like, no,
Yeah, when
one of
my
them is gonna get
bag-
stolen.
Just
Keep a different sheet for each bag, so that way
Yeah.
you can write down what.
Well, I usually I put different things like these. I turn these into
Since you
bags
don't have.
Mm,
since I don't have spells.
yeah.
These become my bags
Same.
and pouches. And
Are we
everything.
getting close to our destination?
Yeah, as you guys watch out the windows, the city streets kind of give way. You go through these massive walls, and you go out and there's farmlands and estate houses, and it's just kind of like peppered in between with what types of properties there are. Off in the distance, you can see the large forest that surrounds the estate of the Vardens, where you guys are headed. And that happened. You guys get out of the city walls about the same time that those two have concluded their business. So it's about an hour and a half from there to the Varden estate. And I think that it would probably be best if that's actually where we pick up next time, just because there's things that need to happen at the entrance to the Varden estate, and it is 12:30.